I'll pick up where we left off. 6 pairs of ears listened at the door. Your move, Officer Fallon, someone said on the other side of the door. That's Lucky's voice, Ben whispered. Very gently, Bradley turned the knob. He opened the door a few inches. Officer Fallon was sitting at his desk. Lucky sat opposite him. They were eating burgers and playing chess. Both had big smiles on their faces. I thought Lucky was in jail, Bradley said to himself. He heard Ralphie and Ben take in deep breaths. How'd you happen to find the 3 leprechauns in your closet? Officer Fallon asked Lucky. My mom saw Ben and Ralphie come in with the leprechauns, Lucky said. She heard them say they were going to blame me for it, so Mom and I decided to teach those two a lesson. That's why we brought the leprechauns here to you. Officer Fallon laughed. Those poor kids, he said. They think I really arrested you. When do you want to go back home? Mom says I should come back today. Lucky said, I'll take the leprechauns with me and return them. He moved a chess piece. But first, I have to beat you at this game. The kids backed away from the office door. Did you hear that? Ben asked. Lucky and Officer Fallon are playing a trick on us. Lucky's not in jail at all. And our mom knew about it too, Ralphie said. Then he and Ben looked at each other. I guess we deserve this, Ben said. We started the whole thing. So what do we do now? Ralphie asked. I have an idea, Nate said. Chapter 12, Leaping Leprechauns. Nate led the kids into the room where the leprechauns stood on the table. What's your idea? Bradley asked. Lucky and Officer Fallon think the leprechauns are in this room, right? Nate said. Yeah, and in a few minutes, Lucky's going to come and get them to take home again, Ralphie said. Only they aren't going to be here, Nate said. They aren't? Where will they be? Ben asked. Nate grinned. We'll hide the leprechauns again. Then when Lucky comes to get them, they'll be gone. He yanked the lid off the trash barrel. There were some old newspapers in the bottom. Nate carefully lowered the leprechauns onto the papers. Then he put the lid back on. But what happens if someone empties the trash? Lucy asked. Nate shook his head. It's Saturday, he said. No one will look in here till Monday. I can't wait to see Lucky's face when he opens his door, Ralphie crowed. Bradley tiptoed back to Officer Fallon's office door. He peeked inside. Then he came back to the others. I think they're finishing the game, he whispered. We have to hide, Ben said. He peered around the dusty room. He pointed to the covered desk. We can hide behind that. They all crawled behind the desk. Pal let out a woof. Quiet, Pal, Bradley whispered. He pulled Pal next to him. I forgot the light, Ben said. He went over and hit the light switch. Now it was black in the room. Brian giggled. I'm afraid of the dark, he said. I'll protect you, Lucy said. I need to sneeze, Nate said. Hold your nose, Bradley said. Who wants a cookie? Ralphie mumbled through a mouthful of cookies. Just then the door opened. Officer Fallon and Lucky looked into the dark room. The kids could see them, but they couldn't see the kids. They're not here, Officer Fallon said. I left them on this little table. I don't get it, Lucky said. How could 3 statues just disappear? Then Bradley heard a small, muffled voice. We're in the trash can, said the voice. Officer Fallon didn't say anything. Lucky didn't say anything. They just stared into the dark room. Please let us out of the trash can, said the small voice. I can hardly breathe in here. Officer Fallon and Lucky stepped into the room. Lucky pulled the lid off the trash can. They both peered inside. Well, I'll be a donkey's grandpa, Officer Fallon said. There they are. One by one, Lucky lifted the 3 leprechauns out of the barrel. Can you really talk? He said to the statues. Behind him, 6 kids burst into laughter. More to come.